Ah, the Chaos Emeralds. 7 of the biggest MacGuffins in all of Sonic, that when collected can even turn someone as powerless as Garfield into a golden glowing god. And as their name suggests, it is impossible to explain them through real life science or logic. But you all saw the thumbnail, so guess what we're doing today?
Welcome to Game Theory, calling Sonic Team liars since 2012. Hey, it's not like I want to hate on these furry-tastic games.
Then stop doing it so much!
Mineralogy. I was fascinated by shiny rocks, precious gemstones, and most of all, crystal. Thing is, as a rock nerd, it always irked me that the Sonic games called these gemstones emeralds, because I just don't think that they are. The Sonic lore is actually pretty consistent about what powers these gemstones have. The 2 big points are, let's throw a list up on the screen right now. 1, Chaos Emeralds are power sources. 2, they can absorb power as well as provide it.
What did they have done far more than that? What about when they were used to restore South Island in the original Sonic game? Or all the times they were used for time travel in Sonic 06? And that's not mentioning the much wider variation of abilities in the comics.
Lastly, we know their color: red, green, blue, cyan, purple, yellow, and gray. And this was always the thing that bothered me as a kid. I thought emeralds were supposed to be green. Well, emeralds are classified as gemstones, and technically a gemstone is a crystal composed of a single mineral. But it just can't be any old mineral. Emeralds are specifically a crystalline form of the mineral called beryl. But there's a catch. You see, there are other gemstones besides emeralds that are also beryl crystals. So what makes a gemstone an emerald as opposed to aquamarine when both are formed by the same mineral? One word: color. Emeralds are green and always have to be green.
Yes, normal emeralds are only green, but we are talking about the Chaos Emeralds. And Chaos Energy is a very important variable to keep in mind, especially when you consider beryl is actually colorless. And it's only thanks to stuff like chromium and vanadium that it becomes green. So maybe the Chaos Emeralds do have all the stuff to be considered emerald, but the Chaos Energy is another variable in play. However, if you don't like that explanation, there is a far more accepted one by the fan. And that is because the Master Emerald is green like an emerald, and because it has a connection over the Chaos Emeralds, they are called so by comparison.
Finding out that the Chaos Emeralds aren't really emeralds leads us to the even more interesting question of, if they're not emeralds, then what are they exactly? And so emerald is a form of crystallized beryl that's colored green, but beryl is an entire gem species that comes in a wide variety of colors, which means that maybe the Chaos Emeralds can't all be emeralds, but they can all be beryl. Green is obviously emerald, yellow is heliodor, teal is aquamarine. Adding a few more of those iron ions turns it darker, and you get yourself a blue beryl gemstone, Maxi. Max 6, and you get yourself the blue beryl gemstone, Mashishi. Red beryl doesn't have a cool name, it's just red beryl.
It does actually. It's called Bixbite. Also, blue beryl can be considered an aquamarine like the teal version.
But here's where we start to run into problems. That darn purple emerald. You see, purple varieties of beryl just don't exist. I mean, there are some forms of beryl that are technically classified as purple, like morganite, but that clearly looks more pink and definitely not the deep, rich shade of purple that we see in the Sonic game.
You know what, MatPat? I guess I'll give you that one. Morganite does look a little pink, but that doesn't really change the fact that there are other types of beryl that do look purple. Heck, even Bixbite can look a little purple. Also, not sure if they did this on purpose or not, but they skipped over the white/silver emerald, and it's called Gaussianite for anyone who's wondering.
Plus, doing more research, beryl crystals in the real world behave nothing like the ways we see Chaos Emeralds used in the Sonic games. Which means we're back to the drawing board to find a gemstone species that does meet our requirement, acts as a power source, and can be recharged like we see in the Sonic game.
First off, we already established the emeralds can do more than that. Second of all, no emeralds can do what they do because they're borderline magic.
But in my research, I actually stumbled across a property of certain gemstones called Piezoelectricity. A crystal that produces electricity when heated or pressed on enough. Sounds like the exact sort of thing Robotnik would be looking for to power his doomsday devices. This fact is actually supported in the comic.
Oh, so you have researched the comics. Also, while piezoelectricity is a real thing, there's a reason people aren't using it the same way we use solar or wind power. And that is because piezoelectricity has some massive drawbacks. The biggest being that barely any electricity is actually being produced. It's basically on par with a potato clock. Dr. Eggman's death machines would have better luck with hamster power if this was the case.
Beautiful. So with that established, only 7 naturally occurring crystal families have this piezoelectric trait about them, but one stood out: quartz. This would also help explain the Master Emerald. Master Emerald, being a larger gemstone, would have naturally higher capacitance, allowing it to absorb the charges of the other smaller stones, nullifying these other rocks.
Except it was never stated the Master Emerald was more powerful than all 7 Chaos Emeralds, just that they had control over them. Also, piezoelectricity is about generating power, not storing it. And just because you have a bigger gem, that alone doesn't mean you have more power. So can you please stop bringing up the fact that the emeralds will recharge in Sonic Unleashed? I know you only keep bringing it up because it's the only time the recharging thing actually happens in the game continuity.
Which leaves us with one final question of color. Does quartz naturally occur in all the colors of the Chaos Gems? Absolutely yes.
Now this part is true actually, I double checked it myself. Give them the point! Wow, that's a good ratio.
In an ironic twist, the rarest form of naturally occurring colored quartz crystal is Piezoelectricity. The reason? Because it gets its green color from being exposed to radiation. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that the Chaos Emeralds themselves are radioactive, but the fact that there are giant green quartz crystals on Angel Island seems to indicate that there might be something radioactive there. Could that potentially explain how talking hedgehogs, foxes, and echidnas suddenly sprung into existence? It would actually make sense.
No! They're there because it's fiction. Not every fantastical thing needs a rational explanation behind it. Even Sega's plans to streamline the lore agrees with this.
Our world is a pretty crazy place. We've got checker patterned soil, floating islands of various sizes, and natural loop-de-loop rock formations.
Also, yes, I know Chaos the Water Monster is an ancient mutant, but I think it's possible that A, it could have been a natural mutation that could have happened at any point, or B, since the Master Emerald is self-aware, maybe the Master Emerald only chose to mutate him alone into becoming Chaos, and turned the rest of the ancients into Chao. My reasoning behind this is because if the Master Emerald was radioactive 24/7, then the Echidna tribe would look a little, not well.
Ooh.
But there you have it, why all Chaos Emeralds are emeralds, but not all emeralds are Chaos Emeralds. As always, thank you for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Theory debunked.